Hi, this is Dan Mallon, and I'm going to present my learning environment to you, which is essentially my Introduction to Film Study course, which is an elective course that I teach for seniors. And basically, what I'm going to try to do is implement some of the tools that I've picked up in this course and enhance this learning environment some and kind of make it more engaging for the students. So the environment itself, basically any 12th grade student can take the course. So I have students of all different levels of ability and interests and reasons that they sort of wound up there. Pretty much anybody and everybody can and does take Introduction to Film Study. So some of the challenges that I face, and specifically for this project, what I'm focusing on is kind of enabling students to engage with films from different genres and time periods, and particularly the one that is most challenging for me is anything that has to do with the very early days of film, silent, black and white movies. A lot of the kids are just kind of averse to that and tune out to that the minute that they don't hear sound or see color. So what I'm going to try to do is that's typically how they respond when I show them some of these movies. But what I'm going to try to do here is to allow students to kind of use some modern tools to kind of connect with these films a little bit more and hopefully understand why these films are still relevant and viable works of art and worth watching. What I'm going to have them do for this particular activity is create an homage, which is just a recreation of an early film as a tribute to it. And it's a concept that we discuss, but I think that by creating their own, they'll grasp it much more, hopefully. So, what I'm going to have the kids do is watch clips from various different silent films, pick one. Kind of the easiest pathway that I've found into silent films, the most accessible actor from the time period has been Charlie Chaplin. He was really the most successful and famous um, silent film actor of the day. And some of his comedy and some of his films and clips from his films still kind of hold up, and there's still things that the kids can kind of laugh at and kind of appreciate to a degree. So I usually start with him, and I'm going to show you right now just kind of one example of something that could be done. This is a clip that I share with the kids from a movie called City Lights, which is probably Chaplin's most famous film. It came kind of at the end of the silent film era when he wanted to make one last great silent film after sound had kind of been around for a little while. And essentially, what this is about is his typical little character meets and falls in love with this blind flower girl. The whole movie revolves around this misunderstanding between the two, where she mistakes him for a rich man, which he is anything but. Um, but the trick was to set up this initial meeting and this misunderstanding. It couldn't be a verbal misunderstanding because there's no dialogue. It's a silent movie. She couldn't see him, so it couldn't have anything to do with his appearance because she's blind. So he had to figure out a way to do it quite skillfully. And that's kind of why it became one of the most successful, famous, I should say, and lasting kind of silent film clips from the era, this meeting that took place between the two. So this is just an example of one clip, one partial scene from a silent film that the kids could use to kind of create their homage. As far as what I would use after taking this course and learning about Edpuzzle a little bit, I thought that it would be a great tool just to present clips like this. It would allow the students to engage with them a little bit more. I could ask questions, they could answer questions, interact with one another a little bit as they're watching the clip, and it would kind of hopefully bring them in a little bit more and engage them a little bit more. So that was definitely something that I will use going forward. And as far as creating their homage themselves, Flipgrid would be a great, quick, easy tool for them to use to share their video with each other, comment on each other's videos. Um, just another great tool that they could use to kind of create a quick homage to whatever silent film clip they decide. They could do a screencast like this one. And essentially, what the students would wind up doing, I can just show you kind of an example here. This is the movie that I was talking about, and this is that initial meeting between Chaplin and the blind flower girl, where she mistakes him for a rich man. You'll see that she assumes that he just got out of that car. And this is just essentially that scene, this scene recut with some modern music mixed in.
just anyone to hold. I don't want my love to go to waste. I want you and your beautiful soul.
So that's one example of something that the kids could do. And again, they wouldn't be limited to creating essentially a music video like that. They could act something out themselves. They could put in dialogue. They could put in sound. Any type of special effects that they could come up with. All these things that they say are lacking from these movies that would make them better. They can get a chance to go ahead and do that and see if it does in fact make it better. Their assessment, I think that this will be a peer graded assignment. A lot of times kids are their own toughest critics, so I think that they might actually get more out of it knowing that their peers are going to watch it and assess it themselves. So I thought that would be the way to go about doing that. And as far as the learning theories involved, there's definitely connectivism involved. Students are kind of using tools from the modern world and incorporating them into these old silent films. Constructivism, in that it's not me just presenting information. The kids are kind of constructing their own learning and ideas. Scaffolding would be an important tool in this, in that they're helping each other. You have kids who are maybe more comfortable in front of the camera or behind the camera, or just thinking about things in different ways and kind of pool their skills and their talents together and kind of learn from each other. We discussed maker-based learning, in that the kids are essentially making a product. They're creating a video, and it's definitely more personalized than me just showing them these clips and asking them to respond to them in writing or verbally, because they're using their own skills and their own interests to engage with the material. So all of those things kind of tie in, and that's about it. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully it will enhance my course this year. Thanks for watching.